All right, I've got one more in me today. And as you may be able to see, I have been outside and it is summer. So I'm a little bit, yeah, this is, yeah, a little shiny. So, anyhow, so one note I wanted to make, I was just out walking the streets of Boston. One of the things from referencing the last live that I did and talking about the creation process and the second hub, and one of the things that I mentioned in that is that the second hub is where you really kind of determine how your creation or what you're going to build is going to make money. And one clarification I want to make on that is that, I think the part that I emphasize is what other people will pay for, but it's also about what you're willing to sell. So it's attunement. It's attunement. Yeah. Anyway, enough on that. This next reading, I'm just going to do this one section. It's courage, and it's a really good one. And it's interesting because I'd just been thinking about this because a lot of these notions I don't know, I don't really recall exactly where they are in the book. I'll think about them and from time to time. And this one in particular that we'll get to was top of mind, maybe even this morning or yesterday. My cat is actually in the table, so if it looks like I'm having an earthquake, it's just Luke. I wish I could show you. It's very cute. What's he doing? Oh my gosh, he's really adorable. Oh my god, it's so funny. So courage. So I'm gonna get into reading, and I'm probably gonna shake a little bit because he's a big boy. Okay, so at least some degree of bravery and courage are necessary for change. Oh, here he comes. Hey, Kenny. So I think his little face was in the corner. Oh my gosh. This is great. This is the content you could sign in for. Oh, he's only showing. Oh no, he's never. He might come back around. This is, yeah. Enjoy the background. It's better than the foreground. All right. So, if we want to change anything about our lives but struggle to make it happen, there tend to be things that we're attached to, usually related to feelings of familiarity, safety, and comfort that need to be released. To be brave enough to make change, we need security in the first hub and to have the fuel of emotion and desire in the second hub. Bronnie Ware notes in the top 5 regrets of the dying, see chapter 3, that at the end of life, almost every regret came down to a lack of courage. She lists the top 5 deathbed regrets as, and I want to just make a note here and like as a point of recollection, or even just maybe it's the first time we're talking about this. Like, hold on. Yeah, I think we switched the camera angle. It's pretty great. Yeah, that is. Oh my god, he is so cool. He's really cool. Is that Bronnie Ware was a hospice nurse in Australia, and after spending time with many people in their last moments of life, she wrote a book about what their regrets were, called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, which was a big, it was kind of like in the zeitgeist for a little while, but it's a little bit of an older book, but very potent here. And so the top 5 deathbed regrets are the number one, and this was listed as by far and away the top regret, was I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. Top regret. Top regret. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. And I'm going to digress a little bit here to bring up the notion that there was this, I think it was the Spain methodology of measuring the relative strength of emotions, and where folks were, and this was replicated in Germany, MIT, and they found that the strongest emotion, I think that very commonly people say it's love, right? But it's integrity, it's authenticity. It's authenticity, and this really, so I think there's this kind of notion about what authenticity is, and kind of like as being something that's like kind of more of a like a notion, something that's nice to have, versus understanding that it's like our magnetic core. It's or it's just the ultimate core of like of really the power of what we are. And when we're starting to reduce the distortion that adaptations introduce and interfere with, and a lot of what the adaptations interfere with is when we get to the seventh hub and we talk about the shadow being absolute certainty, is they create, by way of reflex, a certainty about how the world operates. And as a result of that, we control, we interfere, and we worry, and we believe very strongly that we have to be making decisions based off of our just like cognition, and that we know that our catastrophizing is a function of keeping us safe. All of these things have their biggest shtick that they pull is is that they're helpful. That like anxiety. Yeah, I think I've brought this up before. Anxiety just does this thing where it takes credit for the acute, organically responsive, like fear response, which like is a reflex that like kind of has this jump out of the way of oncoming harm. Um, but trying to contemplate whether that's going to happen is not why we're good at jumping away when oncoming harm happens. But back to the idea of integrity, is that when we can quiet the noise and be patient and compassionate and reduce the inflammation of our adaptations, our integrity as a divining rod can find the easiest path to the best possible way to handle things in a way that defies an understanding that predates the removal of adaptations. And, one of the things I was thinking about tonight was that in the state of integrity, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. There's something about the amount of time that we spend in this kind of theater of control and kind of fixation on our beliefs of what reality is composed of. And with the loss of that, a lot more space is created, and it's a little bit more boring. And there needs to, and so part of how, like part of the preparation for this is realizing that the adaptations are almost like a form of entertainment, as far as like filling time with like something to pay attention to. And when they're gone, and it's like the like the easiest, most effective way like presents itself to something we're trying to solve, and we don't have to do all the myriad of other options and explorations on it and wonder if it's the right thing, and while it's happening can't enjoy it and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of like, it's an adjustment to sit and just trust. Oh my gosh, look at them back there. It's just heaven on earth right there. Look at that velveteen kitty. You can't see his eyes because I think this light is kind of annoying to him. But anyway, so it's just, yeah, it's a real thing. Number 2 is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Number 3 is I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. Number 4, I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. And number 5, I wish I'd let myself be happier. And, when I was, the initial positioning with Parinama is one of the kind of, I guess, angles that I'd explored was about avoiding regret. Didn't go there, but what we're doing when we're in this practice is we're steering ourselves in the direction of avoiding these deathbed regrets. It's because the thing is that, like, the thing that didn't let, it's like, I wish I'd let myself be happier. It wasn't that you didn't let yourself. It's just not, it's like, this is the tough thing. It's like, it's not just a matter of, there is the complexity of the underlying reflexes that we have within ourselves around protection, around vigilance, around criticism, around all of these things. And the thing is that these adaptations fall away in the later years of life. They begin to soften, and yeah, I mean, they just, the older we get, the more they get exposed as being things that are actually not like, that aren't part of what I'd call the integrity, is the end loom, like the core of what we are. So, and I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Once again, that's something where it's like, if we don't have the tools, that's just a lot more challenging. So when we're talking about in the second hub tools for being able to do that and develop and increase capacity, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And that's also something, like, as I was just referencing, which is like, a lot of the working hard is the byproduct of adaptations, which is anxiety, really, and controlling, and yeah, and it's nothing, it's just it's stuff that's just outlived its usefulness. And if we respect it instead of consider it to be inane or stupid or bad or all this kind of stuff, if we don't create kind of like strengthen it by despising it, and we realize like why it exists, these reflexes, and that we kind of like partner and respect it as far as understanding what it's done for us to get us to where we are, and also kind of relieve it of its duty in a sense. I think in a way, at least in my experience, it's kind of relieved, like it's tired. I think I wrote something about that earlier in the book, but anyway. So you'll notice these regrets are simple. People don't regret not becoming billionaires or not impressing people. In fact, it seems like those types of accomplishments are more likely to be tied to significant regrets. When we are brave, we fight the potent illusion that obedience keeps us safe. Many folks are who've supposedly done everything right by following a prescribed path in their lives, say of college and career, one day may find themselves lost and feeling powerless, aware that the most important decisions that shaped their lives were not made by them. Think of the great and powerful Oz, a little man behind a curtain who gave powers to questing heroes who already possessed them. If we're not careful, life will have passed us by when we realize that the people who prescribe these paths for us, those who profess to give us our powers, were lost and frequently fearful themselves. Again, individuality requires having the courage to stand alone. It's not an easy road, which is probably why people fantasize about it so much, yet never take action. Yeah, that's it. Sending you lots of love. And I'll see you next time. You want to say goodbye to Luke? Yeah. He's pretty cute. Yeah, more Luke content. He's in all my shorts on here. All right, bye. Love you.